if you love to manifest anything, you have to watch this video because I'm here with Abanti, and she's an incredible tarot reader, manifestation coach, and she leverages several techniques like numerology and astrology and other techniques in order to help you manifest anything you desire. So whether you're an entrepreneur, a coach, a speaker, or you are just an ordinary person, I am certain you have something really exciting in this video. So, Abanti, please tell us, what can we do to manifest anything we desire?
Well, thank you, Lily, for that lovely introduction. Manifestation, as we all know, is a really, really interesting topic, and so many people are so interested because they get excited about really anything is possible. So really, just to start with the definition of manifestation, it's the process of bringing something from the world of the 5D, which is, the imagination, into the physical world, which is the 3D, which is, what we can touch and feel. And so the process of bringing that into fruition, has to be systematic. So in terms of, tips and advice in general, I think it's first is really important to be excited about what it is that we're trying to manifest. So whatever it is, it's a better job or promotion, or it's attracting your ideal partner or succeeding in your business, whatever it may be. It's very important to stay in a state of excitement about this goal and start acting on a daily basis as if you have it. So, for example, if you had your ideal partner, how would you be behaving differently every day? Would you be in a high vibrational state, like always happy, always cheerful? So you want to behave as much as possible, of course, in that state, because that attracts your reality. And the second thing I talk about is timing. It's so important to take action. And of course, we cannot avoid action, but it's so important to take action at the best possible time. And so I always tell my clients, what are the best times to take certain actions. But in general, a couple of things that I can tell the audience, there's something called void of the course moon in astrology. So the moon moves around the earth, as you know. So in a period of 30 days, every 2 or 3 days, the moon changes sign. So there is a calendar that you can find online, which gives you information about these timings. So anything you do in that time, when the moon is in the course of changing signs, is bound to not succeed. So that's a simple thing that people can keep in mind and try to take action in the best possible time frame for maximum results.
Perfect. Okay, so we have to be enthusiastic. Okay, so now what if we cannot be enthusiastic about, so let's say I have big dreams of, let's say, having, I don't know, a red Mini Cooper, and I think for a long time I actually did have, this big dream of having a red Mini Cooper, until I actually realized I'm actually afraid of driving. Okay, so okay, how can we, let's say if we are not excited about our goal, how can we get excited about our goal?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really great question. So as you just mentioned in your example, you have some conflicting thoughts there, right? On the one hand, you want it, but then you're also afraid of driving. So those two thoughts are not in alignment. So, in those situations, really, really important to have clarity. Is in what do you want? Why would you want that? How would that make you feel? And another thing I always tell my clients is that not to focus too much about the thing that they're wanting, because everything we want ultimately is so we feel a certain way after we have it. So really we're chasing that feeling. So you want to identify what's that feeling. Is it that feeling of excitement? Is it the feeling of fun and joy and beauty? So you got to identify what's that feeling, and then you can try to bring that feeling in your life in other ways, and if you have a conflicting thought, like let's say you're afraid, maybe you can think about other solutions, that maybe you can have your Mini Cooper, and also try to reduce your phobia of driving, because there are ways to reduce phobias also. There are subliminals you can use. People can reduce fear of water, fear of closed spaces, fear of heights. So there are ways to reduce fears also. That's also another way of manifesting.
Very interesting point. So I remember that also at a certain point, I wanted to have a really big house next to Green Park in London. And then I realized I'm actually afraid of living in big houses. Okay. So I think there has to be some sort of alignment between what you want and then, like you said, the feeling that it gives you, right? And then because I was kind of like trying to manifest it, and then the more I was thinking about it, I was thinking about also how lonely I would feel, like living alone in this massive house, and how really I don't need that, you know. So it's like I canceled that dream and that manifestation, because I realized actually it's not really that exciting, right? So like you said, excitement is a massive factor in having a successful manifestation for getting anything that you want. And I think to some extent, it feels a bit to me, like from what you said, that you also like that level of excitement in a way, it's going to guide whether it's going to happen or not. And it also helps you to determine the things that you actually don't want as well, right?
Absolutely. It's a process. So it's really important to have clarity. It's also really important to have a big picture perspective of your entire life, as in what would you like your life to look like? Where are you really headed? And what would really bring you that lasting fulfillment? So, there are many things that people sometimes want or they think they want. And then 6 months later, they think, well, no, this is not worth pursuing. I could have some other pursuit that's more makes more sense. So it's really, really important before jumping into action or jumping into chasing your dreams, so-called dreams. It's very, very important to get clarity. What is it that we want? Are we absolutely sure this is what we want? And then jump into techniques for manifestation, or receiving coaching or anything like that. You will be surprised how many people do not have clarity, and they do not spend time reflecting on their thoughts, because that's another huge advice I can share, is that not only is it important to have a goal, but it's also important to reflect, take that time to reflect and just think about the process, before jumping into action.
Thank you so much. And I think timing, the second one that you mentioned, is really critical. But I want to discover from you, how can we choose the right timing for manifesting anything we desire?
Yeah, absolutely. So timing is such an important thing. So let's say you already have a plan of what you would like to do. So let's say, for instance, you want to go on a vacation. You have your perfect destination. You have taken time off from your, duties, or, your work, and you want to book the right hotel. Now, if you approach, I mean, it sounds maybe not so important, but even these kinds of actions can be successful or not, depending on when we take action. So like I was saying, the void of the course moon is a really important concept. And there's a calendar, you can take a look. What is the time? For example, it'll say July, I mean, this is not the exact, but for example, it might say July 3rd from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. the moon is in void. And so if you take any action during that time, it's a high likelihood that it will not succeed. So that's one thing to easily avoid for anybody watching. You can go to Google and you can search void of course moon, and you'll see a calendar. Now, the other thing is to take action at the best possible time. So I can give another easy tip. For example, it's a numerology tip that anybody can use. So for example, today's date, right, is the June 30th, 2023. So if you add all the digits of the day, so for example, June is 6, the day is 30. So if you add 3 plus 0, that's 3. And 2023, if you add all the digits, it adds to a 7. So 6 plus 3 plus 7, that actually adds to a 7, because 9 plus 7 also is what, 16, and 1 plus 6 is 7. So the day vibration is 7. Now 7 is a really spiritual number, and today is a great day for receiving inspiration, receiving ideas, studying, anything like that. But let's say someone's going to ask somebody else for a favor. The best day to do that is a day number 6. So that's something that anybody can use, that just gives them an extra edge. Does it mean it'll always work? Well, maybe sometimes there'll be exceptions, but most of the time, more than 95% of the time, you'll have a high likelihood of success, because when it's a day with the 6 vibration, pretty much the world comes together to help you and nurture you. So that's the vibration of the day that we can always use to our advantage. Other than that, there are astrological influences also, and I'm not going to go into that because a vast topic, things people can do, keep in mind just to, succeed more and fail less number of times. For example, in July, we have a Venus retrograde coming up. So every year we have planets retrograding. So without going into too much detail, Venus retrograde is a time when women should not go shopping. You don't want to go shopping and buy new clothes or makeup. And even for the gentlemen watching, it's best not to try any new grooming techniques. No need to, if you already always had a beard, that's not the time to shave your beard. So you can do regular grooming, whatever you always normally do, that's fine. But any drastic change like plastic surgery or drastic makeover would not go well. So that's a very simple thing, and this is a lot of people know about it already, but this is another thing that people can keep in mind just to make life easier. So
Okay, so how can we find out all of these dates when we should do stuff and shouldn't do stuff in order to discover? Is there a book you recommend, or is there a particular thing that you recommend that people do, or should they just like watch you on your channels and they'll get that information?
yeah. So, there are plenty of general information that we can all use, and all of these general pieces of advice can elevate us a little bit further, right? Make our life a little bit easier. But what I really recommend and believe in, which I tell all my clients, is to get a personalized consultation, because when I work with someone one-on-one, I can use their unique date of birth, and each person is also born in a unique time, in a unique place that gives me their unique birth chart or natal chart. So that's a really, really important distinguishing factor. And also, every individual has a name, and the name, like Lily Patrascu, your name will have a vibration, and I can use the numerology of your name also to give you really tailored recommendations on what will work for you, what timing is best for you, and so on and so forth. So on a general level, you will find information on my YouTube channels. But if you want to really see a big difference in your life and succeed in a massive scale, I always recommend going with tailored recommendations for that individual.
Very good. And what other techniques should we follow in order to manifest anything?
What other techniques? I mean, there is no dearth of techniques. We can go on and on all day long. I mean, these things are fascinating and fun for a lot of people. So it's nice to, try. So let's see what other techniques. So one I also talk about, in terms of clarifying and getting clarity. Um, so one technique I can discuss, which I always recommend to most of my clients, is really writing down their thoughts. So, for example, let's say someone's feeling anxious or feeling heavy. That's a great time to journal. And even if journaling doesn't sound appealing, they can take like a tape recorder or a voice recording and just speak as if you're speaking to someone close to you, and not to filter anything. A lot of the times people get hung up on affirmations that, oh no, I'm not supposed to speak this way. But for that time being, I would recommend, let's say, just letting it out. And then later on, listening to that voice recording and analyzing every single sentence you said, So some things would be positive and some things would be negative. And you can reverse all the negative statements into affirmations. Now, are you familiar with what affirmations are?
Okay.
Okay, I'll explain. Affirmations are basically, let's say someone says, I'm always happy, and they're actually not. But repeating that multiple times will get them closer to the happiness state. So, for example, reversing those negative statements in the recording to positive affirmations is really, really powerful. So, for example, let's say someone said in the recording that I am always frustrated, nothing works for me. No matter what I try, it always ends up in, like doom and gloom, or I'm just don't feel good. So, just to give an example, the way to reverse each of these sentences would be, I'm feeling good today, or today I feel great. That's a very simple thing that people can at least pretend. So the idea is to fake it till you make it, sort of. So that's a powerful way to change your negative thinking and negative thought patterns into affirmations. The other thing I recommend in terms of manifestation techniques is, scripting. So you can write down your ideal reality in a piece of paper and speak it aloud with emotion first thing in the morning, maybe in the noontime, and right before going to bed. Because first thing in the morning and right before going to bed are really great times to impress the subconscious mind. So that's an easy technique that anybody can use. Let's see, other than that, you can keep an eye on the new moon. What time is the new moon every month? And understand where the new moon is in your chart and take action on that particular area of your life. So for instance, last month I had a new moon in my sixth house, and sixth house is all about work assignments, exercise, day-to-day activities. So taking any kind of action within, let's say, 10 days to 6 weeks of that new moon on that topic is really powerful. So for me, if hypothetically I join an exercise class right after, that's a really great move because I'll be more committed. Taking any action on or work projects would also be really fruitful. So these are simple things that people can keep in mind along the lines of timing and also vibration.
Thank you so much. Like, I found all of those things that you said very useful. But I have a question, okay? Because I'm a great manifestor as well. But what I found is that it's very haphazard. What I mean by that is that sometimes I have these periods in my life where I'm like, I have this in extreme joy, like really extreme joy for no reason at all. And like I could go to an empty fridge and I would still be like having this extreme joy out of nowhere. I don't know why I'm so happy, And during those moments of extreme joy, I don't know, I'm like going out and I'm having fun, and then I know, let's say if I'm invited to an event, I just have this incredible feel good attitude, and I just know things will go well. And then I just know certain things will go well, and sometimes I don't know what will go well, but I know something really will go well. And then something does go well, like I get an invitation for a really special thing, or I get an award, or like it's almost like the universe is preparing me with a massive explosion of joy coming out of nowhere. And I'm not able to sort of like really channel it in a way of saying like, okay, now give it to me, baby, like universe. You know what I mean? Like I'm not able to kind of like say, okay, universe, make me happy, now so I can manifest better. And it's like other times I'm like, I don't feel so good, I don't have a sore throat or a migraine. And then it's like, I may still want to kind of like impact 100 million people and to help people to write books and all these different things. And it's like, God, I just can't bear it right now. Like I need rest, So how do we bring that into our existence? How do we kind of like control, like this manifestation in a way that it kind of like just comes to you? It's like genie, show up now sort of thing. Are we able to do that?
So you have an interesting point. It's really important to address it. So you gotta be realistic. In life, nobody has a life experience where every single day we're happy. There's a time for joy and there's a time for sadness. We have all experienced that's what life is. Everybody goes through that. What we are trying to do here is consciously trying to, control our vibrations. We attract more of the good things and less of the bad things. But it's so important to be realistic. You want to understand the importance of going with the flow. So, for example, if you have a day when you're not feeling great, it's great. It's okay to rest. It's okay to just relax and let it pass. Because one thing is that these vibrations and these feelings are always passing. They're not always constant. There is that saying, "This too will pass," and that reflects on good times as well as bad times. If you're going through a bad time, it will pass, but the good time also will pass. So, the intelligence is in making the most of when you are feeling great. One thing I like to say is that, when you're feeling great, be smart. That's the time to get clarity. That's the time to take action. That's the time to, socialize and network and whatever else you have to do. And when you're not feeling great, that's a good time to rest and recuperate. You see, it's a balance. It's like yin and yang. You want to do both. Both are really important. And as you recharge your batteries, you may get new ideas. So it's so important to go with the flow and, go with the cycles and not resist what is coming.
Thank you so much. So, I mean, for me, I've discovered that it's still haphazard manifestation, okay? But there is a little correlation that I've managed to establish between the things that I'm doing and the manifestation. And I've discovered that, for example, I mean, I don't like going to the gym, okay? I really don't. But when I actually get myself to do it, okay, and the thing that I hate the most is actually, okay, even hate, I know this, you're not supposed to say that, right? But I remember like going to the gym, and even when I'm like lifting weights, because of course it's not my favorite thing, and I'm like, but it's like just the fact that I'm doing it, it kind of like at the end, I'm feeling like so vibrant and energetic, and it's like all of a sudden I come up with great ideas, and it's like I'm putting stuff in motion. I'm like, the stagnation is kind of moving out of the way. It's like, I'm ready to manifest, and then I can see things starting to like show up and appear, and I have a bit more courage and this kind of thing. And the other thing I'm noticing is, for example, when I go to the park and I'm just like walking, and it just feels like I'm doing nothing, but when I'm returning, I'm like, oh yeah, I should do that. So I get a lot of inspired ideas. So do you recommend to do any particular steps in order to kind of like control that manifestation process a bit more? Or if not controlling it, okay, how do I make genie manifesting what we desire more? How can we like get genie universe to kind of show up when we desire?
Okay, I'll give you a few really important things you can do that are very easy to do. Like you said, right? Genie or universe, make me or give me. Okay, so I think right then and there, you see there's a partnership going on. It's not a one-way street. So, it's important to keep that in mind that we're co-creating with the universe. And so, it's important to honor the universe, and how can you honor? You can honor by acceptance. Like whatever is showing up, you say, okay, great. A lot of the times people complain, oh, why did this happen? Why did that happen? And that is complaining about what the universe brought to you. So one thing you can do is not complain. And I know it's not easy. It's not easy, but we can always practice maybe 3 days, no complaining, 1 month, no complaining. But as you build that muscle and you have that faith in the universe that whatever it is bringing to you is for your highest good, and in every moment I accept. So that will make life a whole lot easier and that journey a lot smoother. And the second thing, like you were talking about exercise, I know a lot of people don't like exercise. They don't like the that in the beginning, oh, I don't want to go, but once they're there and once they are doing it, they get into the flow. And then exercise releases endorphins, and endorphins are hormones that make us happy. So anybody can exercise, even if it's not rigorous lifting weights like 6 hours a day. You could do 15 minutes, you could do an hour, and it's always nice to make it fun. You don't have to do something that you don't like. And these days there's plenty of options, right? So regarding exercise, you can do a Zumba class, you can go kickboxing, you can go running, you can do yoga, you can do Pilates. So there are lots and lots of things that you can choose from, and you can choose something that makes you excited, right? And that'll basically make your vibration higher, you'll be happier, and in that happier state you'll get ideas, and also manifest better. So the manifestation and an individual's ability to manifest also depends on their vibration and the dominant vibration on each day. So let's say most of the time you're really happy, you're going to have a better chance of manifesting as opposed to if your vibration is lower. So there is something called a vibrational scale. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So on the lower end of the scale are lower vibrations like anger, greed, jealousy. But if you go higher, there is joy, happiness, bliss, and ecstasy. So the more you're on the higher end of the vibrational scale, the better is your ability to attract and manifest. So I hope that was helpful, but exercise is great.
And thank you so much for that. And what about the list of what not to do? Because I think there's some things that you need to do to manifest anything, and there's a list of what not to do. So what should we not do in order to manifest anything?
Well, one thing to keep in mind along those lines is the power of words. I know we always like speaking freely with our friends and with our colleagues and family members, and it's great to be able to speak freely, but what we speak also has a role in what shows up. So for example, if you say, what do I need to do? The word need is a really, really not a good word, because that puts you in a tight position and a lower vibrational state. You could say, just put it a little bit more softly. So it's important to train yourself to speak in a certain way or avoid certain like saying things like, I hope it will happen. But as soon as you say, I hope it'll happen, it's very likely it won't happen because of the word hope. Or if you rather say the same thing, like, I'm looking forward to it happening, that's a much faster way to manifest. I hope you see that difference. So those little words are really dangerous. The words like need and hope and wish. So instead, you could say, I'm looking forward to it. It will happen, or having that certainty. In terms of what not to do, let's see, clutter is a big no-no in your environment. If you have any kind of clutter or dust, or even like in your house, if you have objects that are just sitting there for months and months and months, it's good to move things around. Like if your couch is always in the same place, you'll feel different if you move it. So it's good to move things, keep the energy moving. So stagnation is something that I always recommend against. So clutter is a big no-no, and stagnation is a big no-no. The second thing, as I mentioned, speaking in the right way, do not let your own words be against you. So don't need to say, I hope. You can say, I'm looking forward to it. What else? No-nos. Also overwhelming. I don't like the idea of being overwhelmed. The whole journey of manifestation should be fun and exciting and like a downhill process as opposed to an uphill battle. So there's no need to overwhelm yourself and say, hey, I have to do these 12 things in one day. You don't have to. If you plan intelligently, you could do 5 things and all 5 will succeed. So just be smart and use your own abilities and do research and get help from others who are able to help, and just make your journey easier, not harder.
Very good. So to manifest anything you desire, it's important to be excited, to have the right timing, to put yourself in a good state, and to follow the to-do list and the not to-do lists that Abanti gave.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you would like to get in touch with Abanti, all you have to do is look at the links below this video and connect with Abanti, okay? And see you soon.